Probably like the best question I always ask is like, why do we need the PDF, right? Like, what does that PDF do for us? Like, like the scanned PDF doesn't really do much for us. We're both companies are on a web-based cloud application, and both of those applications can talk to each other actually. So what does that PDF do, right? It's like almost the era of like getting rid of like CDs and like having like streaming services all via the web. Like that is like the direction, right, that I think it should go, and likely it will go, because why, like what does the PDF do?
I think for two reasons, right? I think one, for the accuracy treadmill piece, right, is that I think that the belief that having things run through APIs is actually any better than having things run through PDFs. I actually think that's not correct. And I understand that that's like a bit unintuitive, but here's something that I will pass along from a good friend of ours. There is no such thing as a website without an API. Right? People talk about like, oh, we have an API. No, that's actually not technically how anything works. All websites have APIs. Not all APIs are documented. And that's actually the key problem, right? Is that if you build your API and it's constantly changing and what's going through it is changing, right? Which it does, obviously, right? Then it is not actually useful. And I think web pages are actually a perfect example of this, because web pages are APIs, right? It's a view on top of an API, right? Maybe with some additional styling. That additional styling might make it easier or harder to get the information out, right? So I think one of the things that's really interesting, and because I think this is a really key question, like, why do we have PDFs? Like, what is the point? Like, why can't, like, we had APIs for so long, we've had web pages for so long, why do these things still exist, right? And Madison actually, I think, turned me on to this, right? Which is that it's just information created for human consumption. It's where a key part of the process is for a human to consume the information. And we don't recognize that, like, that is an important part of these processes, right? Is that an API is not something that a human can look at, right? But theoretically, if you got something, you can consistently turn an API into a PDF that a human could look at, right? But I think in any case where the most important thing is that a human needs to be able to understand it, that's where you really see this. And I think that so long as humans need to understand documents.
Well, I think it's more of a why does it have to be consumed via PDF, right? Why can't it be consumed via UI on another web page, right? Like API may be like going back and forth, but like, why does consumption need to exist on like a PDF?
Why do scanned PDFs still exist?
Right.
Because people still scan documents. What's the alternative?
Well, they likely got that sent in an email, printed it, and then scanned it.